Hello, everybody. My name is Dylan. I'm the host and producer for Survivor Millennium Park. I'm excited to bring you another exit interview with one of our contestants from the season. This player was a big personality during the season. He started out on the Blue Tribe, the Hara Tribe, and made a huge first impression on his team when he did a midair flip during the first immunity challenge, and then continued to make a series of strong impressions throughout the rest of the day. Ultimately, it was his honesty that got him voted out when he spilled the beans about a plan to blindside another one of his teammates. Here he is to give his side of what happened during Survivor Millennium Park. It's Jonton. Jonton, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Dylan. I just want everyone to know my name's Charles McGavin. I played Jonton on Survivor Millennium Park.
Well, Charles, I'm really glad. Was it hard for you to access the Jonton character?
I'm just messing. I mean, yeah, I was not going to do that for the full 2 hours.
That's right. Jonton, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm excited to get to talk to you about this. You were such a big character on the show, but I thought that sort of throughout the storytelling of it, we didn't necessarily get to hear your perspective so much. We saw like a lot about you. We didn't get to hear like, oh, and here's JohnTon's plan. Here's what he thinks about certain people or events. So I'm really excited to get to sort of dive into that. But first things first, how have things been since the show that we filmed back in August? It's now the end of January. How have you been?
Well, Dylan, it's pretty crazy. Everyone's recognizing me on the street, asking me to sign things for them. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah. Things have been pretty good. Just on the grind. I mean, same old. Not much else to say regarding that. I mean. Work hard, play hard,
That's right. Why do I think we're gonna get a lot of new JohnTonisms out of this interview? Well, we have so much to talk about. How about we jump right into it?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we even get to like the weekend of the game, I want to know like what was your experience with Survivor before playing? Like, had you ever seen it? Like, were you familiar with it?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Survivor. When I was at college, my roommate and I, we watched personally my favorite season of Survivor. It was Samoa, whatever. The one with
okay.
Hance.
With that's right, because you're a big Russell Hance fan.
Love Russell Hance. He's that was in my phase where I know and probably everyone who's seen this version of Survivor. I could be called a character sometimes. Back in my younger years, back when I was a young thug, I would just I would just love chaos and entropy, and Russell Hance was just so entertaining, so
much entropy.
He's such a jerk, and he's so just unforgiving about it, that I kind of liked that character and how he was pretty much just a one-man team.
So did Russell Hance influence how you came into Millennium Park, like what you wanted to do?
I would say there was one, not really, but there was one thing he kind of did.
Yeah.
That made me act in his manner in his first season of Survivor. One of the idols he found was under a bridge.
Oh, yep.
And there was a bridge in
that's
the
right
park.
Yeah.
And I think when no one was looking, I did go by the bridge to look for the idol.
Oh my god. That would have been a good hiding spot, but alas, that's not where it ended up being. Jontan, do you remember, you were one of the first people that I got in touch with to see if anybody I knew was interested in being part of this. What were your thoughts when I sent you that text saying like, hey, I'm doing this like small scale Survivor thing. Like, would you be interested? What were you thinking?
I thought it was going to be really cool. I liked, I remember you asked it in such a vague way. You were just kind of like, or are you interested in a social game where there's physical challenges and mental challenges? And I'm like, you mean Survivor? and you were like, the very same. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
That is, I mean, you have such a good memory. That is probably how it was worded. Jonton, I actually do have a fan question, or more of a fan comment for you about you getting into the game. And just so everybody knows, we're going to get into like all the fan questions at the end, but this is one that I wanted to get to first. One of the big fans of the show, Instagram handle at Erica's Hourglass wrote in, and Erica's Hourglass said, "What did Jontan think when he was cast? It's not a boxing ring," and then added the crying skull and heart emojis. So, what was the idea with bringing the whole bag of equipment with you? What was that about?
Well, there was a method to the madness, honestly. Well, you definitely wanted entertainment. I think you were like, oh, it'd be more interesting if, on the downtime, people were actually like just doing things and that was part of the character, if you will. I mean, it's not character, it's myself.
Right.
And what I wasn't gonna unpack the bag. I had like water and stuff in it. Like that's the bag I usually carry around with me. And
you bring all that equipment with you everywhere regularly?
No, I don't bring all that equipment around with me everywhere.
Sometimes you unpack it.
Yeah, sometimes, but put other things in it. But no, the idea was to have something that would be kind of entertaining, and it is such a big part of my life that I just wanted to have it with me.
Absolutely. So, Jontan, once we get into the actual weekend of the game, we show up, we get to the park, it's like 9 a.m. Once you saw who else was on your team, do you have any like first impressions about anybody right out of the gate, like when your team had been formed?
Not really. I didn't really have any. I'm not judgmental. I didn't really. But I will say though, I was a big fan, actually, particularly of Drew. Actually, I think you see in the thumbnail of the first episode where just walking, chatting.
That's right. Yeah, you guys were chatting on your way in. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a big kickboxer. I mean, I don't know the details of her experience in the field there, but that's a lot of what we were talking about.
That's right. So what some people might not know is that confessional that I kept in where you're like, we might throw the old 1-2 around. I took that totally out of context because that was you talking about like, oh, Drew's into martial arts. Like maybe we could work together in some capacity.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. I love it. I love hearing about people who sort of like found things in common with each other. So you guys get down to your camp. Everybody's chatting. Once you started to get to know people, was there anybody who like started to stand out to you, like as the group was like kind of bonding and getting to know each other?
Yeah, I'm sure it's clear to everyone. I noticed how aware Zack was about the game. He knew he was just obviously just a huge fan, and he didn't make that a secret.
Right.
And I was able, and I kind of know about the game. I mean, I know there's challenges, there's social play, there's idols. Like I have the basics down. I have the terminology.
That's right.
But not. I didn't really have much of the ability to, I guess, manipulate people, work someone else.
Sure.
So the plan, or at least in my mind, I was gonna leave that to Zack.
Right. No, I mean, like I think it's important in this game to be able to assess your own strengths and weaknesses. So the fact that you kind of knew that out of the gate, I think that probably helped you a lot.
Probably.
So Jontan, talk to me about the first challenge. You guys are doing this relay race. You are the first one in line. I know that Justin is behind you. You can sort of see him in the clip. He's like whispering in your ear, like almost taunting, like you've got to be faster than Tony. You've got to be faster. And you run out. Why did you do that flip when you got back to the finish line?
That was CGI. That didn't happen. No, that was CGI. You edited that in.
Jontan, do you think I have the budget for CJ? You saw the challenges. I don't have a budget.
Yeah, you're right.
What was, Karen famously
okay.
called it a hot dog move. Like why did you pull that hot dog move?
No, I was thinking about that, and obviously I knew this question was going to happen. And it was for a few reasons. One of them was, I want, again, action for the camera, something entertaining, unexpected. I want something like that for the camera. I thought it was going to look cool.
It
also,
looked cool.
and it did look cool. And also it was called a hot dog move. Yeah, that's kind of accurate there. I think I wanted to show off, yeah, I can do this. Keep me around for more challenges because none of you guys are doing this. Yeah, that did go across my mind the split second before I did that.
So you weren't like planning to do it. It was like an in the moment decision.
Yeah, it was.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's kind of how it turned out. And all right, real talk. You can edit this out if you want. I think if I wasn't messing around, I would have so been like faster than Tony.
I can keep that in.
I swear, I just hand to God, like I did cross country back in my day. I'm like, what?
We'll just never know because you did slip when you were collecting the piece. Like we'll never really know if you were faster than Tony. We'll have to review what that first leg of the race was like. But Tony, I don't know if this is the second interview. Somebody's like challenging Tony.
I'm not trying to challenge him, but I mean, I don't know. I don't mess around.
So Jontan, your team loses. And in a twist, you guys are going right to tribal council. Like you guys aren't going to camp to talk. You guys are just going right there. Did you were you aware that the other people on your team were all voting together to vote out Drew? Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't actually. I think the Justin was doing the rounds there, going to everyone, and we were told no talking.
Right.
And I play by the rules. I don't break any rules.
That's true. You famously play by the rules.
Yes. But I guess Justin didn't get to me. So when I noticed I was the only one who voted differently from pretty much everyone else, I was like, well, this might be awkward. I'm going to have to deny ever making that vote there.
Now, I know that this was cut from the episode, but Justin at the final tribal council sort of shared like how from day one he was in control, like how he sort of like whispered to people to vote Drew. Were you aware that he was doing that, or was that new? Like, did you not find that out till later?
That was news to me.
Okay. What was your reaction when you got a vote at that first tribal council? It was Drew who was ultimately the person who left, but did you have any sort of like gut reaction when you saw your name come up for the first time?
Yeah, it was kind of it was pretty daunting, but I can't say I was that surprised, just again based on my behavior in the first challenge.
Sure.
I can't say it was a shock really. But it felt bad.
Yeah. Was there any fallout when you got back to camp when people put together that it was you that voted for Karen?
Was there any fallout? No, not really. I mean, there was, I said it, I had a confessional about this. I personally thought I made a decision based on what I had seen, at camp and in the first challenge. And I thought it was the right way to go. And I think I explained that to at least Zack at the very least. I'm pretty sure I told him about why I thought that was the correct choice.
Sure.
And I guess he ultimately agreed.
I guess so. Yeah, you definitely nobody held it against you because ultimately Karen was the next one voted out. But before we get to that, we have the scene where Tom finds a hidden immunity idol at your camp, the only idol found in the whole game. He didn't even see the clue to it, like he just found it. Were you aware that Tom had found the idol?
No, I wasn't aware he found the idol, because I think after my behavior in the first challenge, I think I was definitely on the bottom of my tribe, which that's understandable. We only had so what.
Well, let me ask, did you know at the time that you were at the bottom of the tribe, or was this something you figured out like sort of in watching and like looking back on it?
I think I knew that if anyone had to, after we started winning a lot, like had our tribe happened to lose a challenge, I think I would have known that I would have been in danger.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting to know, because that gets into some questions we have later once we talk about like the merge and things like that, and sort of like the later half of the game. So yeah, you were left out of Tom finding the idol. I believe that Tom, before the second tribal council, informed, he didn't show them at the time, but he informed Justin, Kim, and Zack about the idol. So at that point, you were the only one left on the team that didn't know.
I think at one point he also told Karen before she was
That's right.
off.
He did tell Karen. That's right. There is a deleted scene where he confirms with Karen that he has the idol. You are right about that. You are right about that. So your team goes to the second challenge. You end up losing the deciding match. It was the John fight, you versus John from the red team. How did you feel at that point? Again, like you weren't the only one to lose, but like there was a certain amount of pressure with like being the deciding point. So how was that for you?
It was really brutal, especially because this was, I mean, I know it wasn't exactly the kind of quote unquote combat I was used to. I forget how it was presented to us in the tree mail.
Yep.
But because I think everyone's like, oh, Jontan, you're up. This is your challenge. And I was like, yeah, I can do that.
So your team was really behind you for that.
Yeah, they were.
Interesting.
Rightfully so, I think. But and it was really just gut wrenching to have come. It was a photo finish right there.
Yeah.
Both the bottles fell. And I was at least glad I was on the offensive the whole time in theory, and sticking to some of the, I guess, quote unquote, like martial arts training I am into. I'm just like, they keep a hand up right in front, keep this back here, go for the thing. And yeah, didn't work out the way I wanted to, which led to another pretty quotable deleted scene, I suppose.
Jontan, let me ask, what, before that challenge started, when you're all grouped together, you have this funny little moment where you say, if it was a punch, which Zack says, which it's not, and you say, which it's not. What were you trying to give them instructions to, like, how to knock the paddle over? And hey, real quick, I want viewers to know, when Jontan punches and you hear that little sound effect, we didn't add that. That was just the sound that Jontan punching made. It actually made a whoosh sound. So I just want that out there. But anyway, Jontan, what were you trying to teach them there? Okay,
all right. It's valuable. It was a way. All right, there's a way to get like extra range with your. It's not a punch, guys. I mean, in this context, it wouldn't have been. But it's just a way to get more range that I was thinking that maybe the other team wouldn't have been aware of. It's, I'm not going to do it right now, but the technique, I guess, would be when one of your hands goes out at the same time that your same side leg kicks back. And it's kind of like a dance or a ballet move.
Interesting.
It's not. I don't do any of that.
Of course not. Of course.
I wouldn't want to give people the wrong idea.
Obviously,
but it's just a way to reach and get more range.
Got it. I mean, like, hey, if it had worked, then like it's not like a funny little moment that Jontan was like punching the air. It turns into like, oh my gosh, Jontan won that challenge for his team.
Right.
You saw like the red team was talking about like we got to put someone good up against Jontan. Like everybody, all eyes were on you for that one. So
Yeah, that was rough.
we finished that challenge. You guys get back to camp. This is the round where you ultimately vote Karen out. But were you aware that you were the other target during that? Like you were the other name being talked about by people?
I probably assumed I was because like Zack said in the first challenge, and he felt responsible for losing, so he thought he was on the chopping block. And I felt like I had really let the team down at that point. Just because, again, it was something I probably hyped myself up about. I hyped myself up a lot for things like that, and I was pretty confident that physical challenges were going to be something I would excel in. And it was 2 challenges in, and we lost both of them, probably because of me. Wait, we didn't lose the first one because of me, but
but the flip certainly didn't help.
Yeah, but that didn't help. But I definitely did feel responsible for the situation we were in.
Now this seemed to be the round, based on the footage I saw, where the working relationship between you and Zack really started to take off. Can you talk to us about that? And like, did you guys ever formally say to each other at this point, like, you and I are in an alliance, or was it just sort of like talking about votes and sort of feeling things out more? What was it like?
It was more so talking about it, actually. I know I'm pretty sure I have a confessional that was unaired as well, where I
know the one you're talking about. Was it the one where you're talking about how great Zack is?
What am I not talking about? How great Zack is?
Oh my God. I left in part of that confessional. I just cut out the part where I said, so are you in an alliance with anyone? And you said,
I was like, yeah. And you're like, with who? And you're like, oh yeah, with Zack.
And I was like, okay.
But I considered it an alliance, and again, because just based on the conversations I had with him, I was pretty trusting of him.
Yeah. Was there, thinking about the tribe dynamics and thinking about how, like you said tonight that you were pretty aware that you were maybe like the lowest ranking member out of like not counting Karen, who's being voted off, but like out of the 5 remaining, like you feel like you're the lowest ranking member. Thinking more about tribe dynamics, did you feel like there was a leader on your tribe?
Not really, actually.
Okay.
But not during the game, really, because or not at least when I was playing. Because I don't know, everyone just seemed like they kind of had their own kind of thing going on.
Sure.
Especially after I was voted off. I considered Kim the leader of the Hara tribe.
Oh, interesting. But that wasn't the impression you had while you were in the game. It wasn't until after that you started to think that she was the leader.
That's right.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm super excited to dive into that round, but once we get there, were you aware at all? Justin and Kim really hit it off very early in the game. Were you aware? Like, did you pick up on that during the game, that they were so close?
I really didn't, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't. At least during my time as a tribe mate and not a jury. Yeah. Yep. There we go. I didn't pick that up. Eventually, the more the day went on, I was like, oh, okay, that kind of thing going on. But it really wasn't. It was news to me when I kind of found out.
Sure.
That they were really running the whole game.
So you guys vote out Karen. How is it at camp after that? I think we saw in the footage, like, things seem to be pretty bad, but like, how were you feeling personally after voting out Karen before you guys had your comeback?
I was glad that I was still sticking around.
Yeah.
I was definitely glad I was still sticking around just after my behavior. It always kind of has to go back to that. I was like, all right, they still want me here for some reason. But just given the confessional I had about her, I mean, all respect to Karen, wonderful person, had great conversations with her.
Yeah.
But I think I said that I was just a little disappointed how I thought she would be the math and puzzle person,
Sure.
and at least in the first challenge, just didn't step up for that. But however, I do think that if she did do that puzzle, she would have definitely lasted way longer than I did on the challenge.
Right. So if she does step up and do the puzzle, even if it's the same result, she probably gets vote. She probably stays, and you get voted out second.
That's exactly what I thought would happen.
Interesting. Well, I mean, like that's always the tricky thing is like, you know, people are a little nervous to step up and do the puzzle, but sometimes somebody's got to do it. So it's an interesting thing to balance, I think. So 2 back-to-back losses, spirits are low, and then you guys get to the blindfold challenge, where your buddy Zack is the caller for the challenge and leads you guys to victory. Jontan, how did it feel to win that challenge?
It was pretty good. You know, I wasn't about to go, 3-0. That just wasn't about to happen. And it was really exciting because it was midday. I thought the momentum was on our side now, and well, I was looking forward to just seeing the other team struggle.
Well, Jontan, your celebratory midair flip after that third challenge was it was fantastic. And then when you pointed at the camera person and said, "Did you get that? Did you get that?"
I saw that.
That was awesome.
I just rewatched that and I was like, oh my gosh. That's great.
What do you not like? Are you someone who doesn't like go back and watching themselves?
Oh, I love watching myself.
Oh my God. Of course you do. Of course you do. So
but I'm just like, wow, I actually did that. Wow.
So speaking of watching yourself, so we finished that challenge. That was the third episode. We get to episode 4, which I don't know if you know this, is often referred to as the Jontan punches a tree episode, because that's the episode that starts off with that famous scene of you talking to Zack about how like, oh, like I can knock down a tree. Like, did you know that it's pretty common for people to knock down trees? And Zack's like, yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah. And then you put on your equipment and you just start punching the tree. Why did you do that?
All right. We all know why I did it. Like,
I don't know that we do.
Okay. I know you wanted some fun footage for the camera, and I think it would have been a little bit boring, all of us just like sitting around, like talking about like, oh wow, where did you go to college? Oh, I went to. No, I'm not gonna. We're not gonna do that. That's just not kind of small talk that we wanted for this season of Survivor.
That we wanted, as in you and I.
Yeah. That's why you brought me on. So,
objectively, I did bring you on for the shenanigans. So, like, yeah.
Oh, thanks for letting me know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a reason that all made the episode, and a lot of the small talk didn't. So, like, touche.
Yeah, no, I'm correct here. No, I just wanted something to be, entertaining and completely. That's it is the weirdest thing ever. Like that I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, believe it or not, that's not something I do just casually with just when I'm not, in a gym or something. Like trees aren't the first thing I go for when I need to hit something.
Let the record show people. That is not what Jontan would go for.
But people do it.
So yeah. You claimed.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, people do it. It's not something I do all the time, but I mean, yeah, it had to make it in.
Oh my God. So you're punching the tree. What I was gonna ask, what did your team do during downtime at camp? Because obviously, like once you start winning challenges, there isn't a lot to do. You guys are kind of like, what did you guys do to pass the time?
Well, I was kind of hoping, and the reason I brought all the equipment, I was hoping like, oh, maybe someone can hold pads for me, or like I can like teach them something. Like I love teaching, I really do. What did we do in the rest of our downtime? Laid around, talked, I guess. I mean, avoided just getting bitten by bugs and stuff like that. I picked a lot of grass. I know. Another thing that I just wanted to bring up is that Dylan, this guy, he said that we weren't allowed to kill anything living. All right.
I did say that. I did say that you weren't allowed to kill or harm anything living.
And I was like, oh, so like I can't like pull some grass out of the ground. And it's like, no, you can't do that.
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, I was like, it's a blade of grass. Like, who cares?
That's right. I think that was a member of the camera crew messing with you, being like, of course you can't do that, Jontan.
Oh, and I'm like, oh, like we can't kill or harm anything living. So like we can't kill a mosquito or anything like that. Like, yeah, it was the rules were pretty restrictive. I'm not gonna lie to everyone.
All right, we'll keep that in mind for season 2 so that the contestants don't feel so restricted. Did you have any so at this point in the game, you know, like you've won 2 challenges now, so we've like Sarah has been voted out. Were you starting to form impressions about the other team at all? Was anybody from there? Obviously, you had very limited contact. You did know Jean from the other team from going to school together. But were you forming any impressions about any of them and what might be happening over there?
Not really. It was hard to know what was going on the other side of the jungle. Yeah, and as I think we saw, we were constantly thinking like, what are they talking about? And they're just talking about TikTok.
It was kind of funny seeing you guys had a lot of footage of like speculating what was going on with the other team, so it was kind of funny to see that that's what you guys were talking about for a lot of it. Were you aware of Kim and Andrew's friendship, and did you have any concerns about them joining up at the merge?
I did know about that. I think I was a little bit concerned about that, but Kim was pretty open that she's so savage that she would vote for him whenever we wanted to. And she was pretty convincing when she said that. So
she ultimately did.
Yeah, I had no problems with that.
Now the 3 of them, being Tom, Zack, and Kim, go off to do this fire puzzle challenge. You and Justin stay back at camp. Did anything of note happen with you and Justin when you were at camp? Did you guys talk about anything important? Did you guys do anything?
No, and I also I still didn't know that the idol had been found.
That's right. So that's right.
So I was looking around for the idol. I thought that was the time.
Oh, did you talk to Justin about how you were looking for the idol?
I don't think I told him. I think I just suck around.
Oh, okay. And because he knows that it's already been found, he's not concerned.
Yeah, and yeah, he wasn't concerned. And we did have a nice exchange. Truth be told, like I'm not just a moron who punches trees. Like I brought a Rubik's Cube. I'm pretty good at solving those.
That's right. That's right.
Wicked fast at those. That didn't make it in, unfortunately. It probably should have.
I don't know that I had any footage of you with the Rubik's Cube, actually. I didn't see it much that weekend.
We'll watch the director's cut.
Oh, okay. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. But I am, again, I'm smarter than I look. So I
can verify you are amazing with a Rubik's Cube.
Thank you. And I think I'm still rated, I think 1800 plus on leechess.com. So I'm pretty good there as well.
Jontan, did you think about stepping up to do that first puzzle?
I was thinking about it.
Were you really?
That puzzle. Sorry, you said the first one. I think I meant the fire one. No, absolutely not. It was a map.
Well, okay. Then what about the fire puzzle? Did you want to?
I thought about it.
Yeah.
And I talked to Justin. I was like, I'm regretting not doing that puzzle. I probably could have done that puzzle. And the reason why I kind of like hushed a little bit when people were stepping up to do the puzzle, I didn't want to be the one to mess up again and then be voted off. So that's what kept me from doing it.
Interesting. I mean, like, hey, it worked out for your team. You guys end up winning.
Right.
So you guys win 3 consecutive challenges. You now know for a fact that you were going into day 2 with a majority. You don't know yet that it's a merge is happening first thing in the morning, but you know that tomorrow morning we'll start the day 5 versus 4.
Yeah.
your team at the end of the day starts talking about, all right, so Tony's the biggest threat, but like he's too obvious of a threat, so like we should just vote for Emma. How do you remember that strategy conversation right at the end of the day? How were you feeling about that plan that you guys had at the end of day one?
Yeah, I do. And again, I don't think this was caught on camera, but there was a scene when we were walking back up the hill at the end of the day, and we were all behind just walking behind the Tortuga tribe. When I say we, I mean the Hara tribe.
Yep.
And we just saw Emma and Jean just like right next to each other. They seemed to be the only ones who were like really close with each other talking. So I think we thought they would be pretty tight together, would stick together, and they seem to be the more social, more outgoing ones. And I remember, and you can Google this one, Kim, she was like, we gotta break that up. And I was like, yeah. So that's why I think that why their names also showed up.
Wait, what do you mean you could Google that? What are you talking about?
Google Survivor Millennium Park.
Emma and Jean walking together. Kim's strategy.
And Jean walking together, and Kim makes a comment. You can Google it.
Oh my God. I mean, I think that that's so fascinating. Like for Emma and Jean, it's like, all right, like the game is on pause. We're just walking up to our cars to leave for the end of the day, but your team is still paying attention to what's happening. That's so interesting. I think that that's really interesting. So how secure did you feel with your team at that point? I know you mentioned before that you were kind of getting the vibe you were maybe the bottom ranking member. Were you feeling better by the end of the first day, or were you still a little unsure?
I was probably still a little unsure. Like I mean, it felt great to win as often as we did. And I was thinking if the merge happens, I was thinking I'd just win a ton of immunity.
Yeah.
That was what I was saying. Because I was like, okay, heads back in the game. I just want to just rely on myself to win some immunity challenges, so I can stay as long as I can and avoid being the bottom guy from my tribe voted out.
Well, let me ask you, Jontan, because you only got to play in 2 of the individual challenges. Were there any of them, of the later ones, that you feel like you would have done well in?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, do you remember which ones?
Yes, I would have killed it in the egg one.
The one on the spoon? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you would have been good at
that. Because I tested that one with you. That's
right. That was like the day of I needed an extra person, and I was like, hey, jury members, like who wants to? That's right, you did help me with that. That was very kind of you.
I would have killed that one.
That's right. You would have. Are you good at word searches? Do you think you would have done well on the word search puzzle?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I never saw how you had that word search.
Sure.
Because I know Andrew said there were words on there that just weren't on there, so that
well, I don't know about that, Andrew. I don't know about that, Andrew. We'll talk about that in his interview.
Which well, I mean, but
I was gonna say, if you could have won the ball in the spoon, maybe your team should have kept you, and then they wouldn't have been beaten by Tony at the end there. So, Jontan, any other thoughts on day one of the game?
Any other thoughts? No, it was really fun. If I could have gone back and done a few things differently, I definitely would have.
Can you give an example of something you would change?
Yeah. I would have made less hot dog moves. I would have punched more trees.
Oh, okay.
I probably would have, because again, we wanted something cool for the camera. I might have grabbed Zack and be like, hey Zack, let me show you how to punch stuff.
That would have been a great scene. Sort of like a master and apprentice situation.
Yeah. It's like I'm like his Yoda, and he's like my young Padawan.
Jontan, were you bothered by? It was 90 degrees that first day. Were you bothered by the heat at all, and like the exhaustion of walking up and down that big hill? Were you tired at all at the end of the first day?
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
All right. Not at all. Everyone was complaining about the heat. They just weren't prepared enough for it. You just had to dress for it. I mean, what I was wearing was it's not a normal shirt. It's called a rash guard, specifically a Florian rash guard. It's typically what you're gonna wear when you do no-gi jujitsu, because you want something that is very tight fitting, that isn't going to like catch on anything, and it's very absorbent because when you're rolling around with someone, you're sweaty, they're sweaty, so it's very absorbent, it's very airy. And I was wearing just Muay Thai shorts, which
sorry, the shorts got a lot of attention from people.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they're made to be worn in Thailand, which is pretty hot.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's where they well, I guess originated. Probably shipped from there. I don't know. But that's why I mean, I was cool as a cucumber that day.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. And if people are preparing for be out in the heat in some stuff, just get a rash guard. It's gonna be wicked cool. While you're at it, maybe sign up for your local jiu-jitsu school.
Maybe if you live in the Boston area, Jontan can be your martial arts instructor.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not qualified to teach just yet, but we'll see.
Okay. So Jontan, we get to day 2 of the game. Now you mentioned that on day 1 you were feeling kind of at the bottom. Did it occur to you to flip to the red team at all? Was that ever a thought at that first round when it was 9 of you? All it would have taken would be for you to flip, and then that's the new majority. Did you have any thoughts about flipping?
Someone asked me that. I'm not sure if it was you or not. No, I didn't have any thoughts about doing that. The plan was pretty simple. Hara had the majority. We were just going to vote everyone out. That's what we said, pretty frequently. But I guess it didn't quite go as planned, as we'll probably get into.
We're going to get into that pretty soon. But while we're still on that merge vote, there's sort of an interesting scene, I thought, where the 2 teams are at the merge camp, but they've separated. The blue team is talking. They're like, so we're still going after Emma. And you start to say like, hey guys, like I think Jean might actually be the person to go for. What made you think that Jean was going to be the right target at that round?
I'm glad you asked. So at the end of day 1, I drove a member of the Tortuga tribe back to their residence.
Do you want to tell us who?
I guess so. It was Wu.
Okay, so Wu has been voted out, but you gave her a ride home.
I did, because I was very feeling very generous that day.
Yes.
And she let me know that this didn't make it in the show. No cameras followed us or anything like that. But full disclosure, she did let me know that Jean was on the top of the tribe. She felt that, and she said, I mean, you can interview her if you want as well. But I believe she let me know that, in her words, she thought she gave Jean too much power and that she was kind of running things over there.
Interesting.
And my thought, because I showed up the next day and I immediately said to everyone, guys, Jean, let's go. Just because I thought it would be a pretty tough loss for them. There's another confessional from me that also didn't make it in. I didn't really get enough all the airtime I wanted. But
you're the biggest character just from the stuff you were doing. You didn't need confessionals on top of it.
Oh, you didn't need me being like, oh, well, we're gonna do it.
Jontan, the Instagram account is mostly footage of you. You're such a star of the show. I don't want you to feel like you didn't get enough airtime. You were a star of the season. I hope you know that.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But it seemed like they were not seriously considering your suggestion of voting Jean. Like, it didn't seem like that got any traction until way later. Did you feel? What was that like for you? Did you feel like they were brushing you off, or did you like it wasn't personal, so it didn't bother? Like, did you have any feelings about that?
I did feel a little brushed off, actually, just because they were everyone on the hard tribe much more much greater Survivor fans than I am.
Right.
And again, I watched a couple seasons. I like it for the characters, just Russell Hance. I did feel a little brushed off
Sure.
because they were, reasonably so, I guess. They definitely probably know the game much better than I do, and they probably still had the impression of like, oh, this is the crazy guy who does all the wild things. So
I wonder if they knew that you and Jean knew each other and if they thought it was suspicious that you were suggesting her.
I didn't think about that.
Do you think that they knew that you two knew each other?
I don't think I really brought it up,
Okay.
but you can double check on that.
I'll have to ask somebody else from the team if they remember knowing that.
I don't think I brought that up. I know it was brought up on the other tribe.
That's right, because
So-
Emma and Jean like recognized each other.
Yeah.
And then
So I think maybe some word got around.
it could have gotten around.
Because I think Justin maybe found out at some point. Yeah,
that's right, because Justin had a confessional speculating that you had a bunch of friends on the other team.
I don't quite recall. If I said I knew some folks, it was probably just a one-off, like, oh, and
That's right. That's right.
I don't think it was something I was trying to highlight about myself.
Right. Of course.
But I'm sorry, what was the question?
No, that's all right. I just wanted to know about like when you were suggesting that the team vote out Jean and it didn't gain traction at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you remember, this was a deleted scene. Do you remember there was like a long conversation with you, Emma, and Jean that round where Emma and Jean told you that your team was targeting you? Do you have any memory of this conversation?
I actually do. It took a second. And yeah, they did tell me this. I remember I was watching the Emma interview and she brought that up. And then I was sure to let you know. She said that I was so worried, and I was sure to let you know right after I saw it that I was not worried.
So we're setting the record straight. You were not concerned at all that your team.
No. Actually, the truth is, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, again, full disclosure, it was probably like 4 a.m. When I was informing you of this.
When you were texting me.
Yes, when I was texting you this.
About the Emma interview.
Yes.
Okay, but what about during the game when they said that to you?
Okay.
Were you actually worried that, because if you were thinking that you might be the like bottom ranking member of the team,
yeah,
like were you like, did it confirm what you were already afraid of a little bit?
Yeah, no, I remember when she did say that, I guess I thought, oh, maybe it's true. Maybe I should, walk around, get an idea of what people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when, because I remember at the time I was literally just sitting around, not really doing much. But that just got me to just, all right, let me get up, let me engage some people, let me see what the word is for real, and then I can be sure. And that's how it went. I mean, I was like, oh, wait, really talking about me right now, so I guess I'm good.
Do you remember another scene that didn't make the cut where you, Andrew, and Tony were sitting around camp? And you were kind of like asking them about like, oh, do you want to see what's in my bag? And then they were kind of asking you what the plan was. Do you remember this moment?
I think I know what you're talking about.
And then and they're asking you what the plan is and you're kind of deflecting. It's one of my favorite deleted scenes. I really tried to squeeze this. There just wasn't anyway. Andrew eventually walks away. And once it's just you and Tony, you like let Tony like, hey, it's not you. We're going to say it's you, but it's not you. And Tony's like, thanks, Jontan. Do you have any memory of this conversation?
I have a vivid memory of this conversation.
Do you really? Tell me about that. Why did you tell Tony that? Do you remember?
Because I liked Tony. He was cool. I mean, please disregard the fact that I was like, oh, I'm so much faster than him. No, I loved him. And I thought I could be, open with him because that was the plan. we were gonna do that.
Right.
I mean, objectively, if you're someone who is big into Survivor, it probably isn't a good idea to tell the decoy that they're a decoy.
Right. Yeah.
But I think he probably knew that I wasn't up on my social game.
Sure.
So I think he was able to be like, okay, yeah, I can take your word for that.
Yeah. Can you talk to us, Jontan, about when the votes officially switched from Emma to Jean. Do you remember how that went down? Can you talk to us about that?
I actually didn't know that everyone was going to make the switch from Emma to Jean.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure that I knew I thought we were gonna split the vote.
Okay.
Yeah, we were gonna split the vote. But in my heart, I was still gonna be like, all right, I'm still just gonna vote for Jean here, and hopefully everyone else is with me on this one.
Sure.
Otherwise, it would be really awkward. And again, I just wanted to do it because I thought she was just a very strong player, a very likable personality, a much more likable than myself, and would definitely go far if she wasn't voted off.
Got it.
But for me, it was a big relief because I didn't want to have there be any hard feelings and or any awkwardness when we went back, and she'd be calculating who made that vote for me.
Oh, you were worried that like it might come back to like, oh, like
Yeah.
if I'm Jean, I only got one vote and it was from Jontan.
Yeah.
Got it. So yeah, at that point you're just hoping like, oh, I hope I'm voting right, because you didn't want to have a repeat of when you cast that random vote on Karen that didn't come out. Okay, that's interesting. That's a vote I'm really excited to dig into with a few of your other teammates, because I think I know what happened there, but I'm so that's interesting. You guys are planning to split the vote. There was another deleted scene right after Jean gets voted out where you're all back at camp and you're talking to Emma. Do you remember it made the show where you're showing Emma the martial arts equipment so you can go punch trees? But do you remember the conversation you had with her before that moment?
Which one?
This was, you two were talking to each other, and she was sort of saying like, I know what you guys are doing. Like, you're just going to vote us all out. And you were like, well, I can tell you that it's not you. And she was like, is it Andrew? And you mouth the word, yeah. And then Andrew comes up behind you and you look at her and you're like, you kind of like make it clear you're not going to say anything else. And that's when you're like, do you want to see what's in the bag? do you have any memory of that conversation?
That sounds like something I'd say.
Did you have any sort of feelings of like wanting to work with Emma or Tony? Because I guess I kind of take note that it's like twice Andrew shows up and you don't want to talk anymore, but like with Emma and Tony, did you feel like you maybe wanted to like form relationships there?
I liked Tony just because he definitely showed that he was the most willing to work with the other tribe,
Right.
The other tribe being Hara.
Right.
He definitely showed that he voted how we wanted him to, so he was great to have around for the 2 merge episodes where I was voting.
I mean, Zack tried to get Tony in on your plan that's coming up. So like it did seem like Tony had really integrated into your team.
Yeah, so he seemed very trustworthy at the time. I wasn't really sure where Emma stood in the whole that whole situation, although it was made clear that she would vote however she was told.
Right. Did anybody from the red team try to talk to you about flipping, or did it seem more like the red team had fractured entirely at that point?
No, they didn't really approach me about that. It seemed like they had fractured. I mean, because if it seemed like Tony, he flipped pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
It would have just been Emma, Andrew, everyone,
and Tony,
and yeah.
So if Tony's flipped and Emma and Andrew are probably not going to
and I think they kind of knew. Oh well, I guess we're just going to get picked off.
Right. So at this point, this was some editing manipulation on my part, because something we see after this is a conversation between Zack and Tom that you walk into and join, where you three talk about being the final 3. Now, what viewers might not know is this conversation actually happened before Jean was voted out, but I moved it with the magic of video editing. So either way, early in the morning, you, Zack, and Tom have a conversation about being the final 3. What did you think of that plan? Were you down to go to the final 3 with the 2 of them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, as for how I would at least make final two from there. I was probably just gunning on winning immunity or something like that, and hoping everyone would appreciate my charm.
I would have voted for you, Jontan.
Thanks, Dylan.
I would love to see what your final travel speech would be like. That would be so interesting.
Oh, that'd be absurd.
Guys, I punched the most trees. I did the most flips. No, none of my opponents are as powerful as I would.
That's probably how it would go.
But at this point, are you still thinking? So like Zack says in this, so he pitches this final three, and he also starts talking about how he's nervous about Justin and Kim. Obviously, we see later that you are on board to vote Kim, but at that point, you seemed very hesitant. Like even you said to Zack, like it's way too soon to do that. How were you feeling? Were you getting? Were you? Let's start with this. Did you want to go? Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what question I want to ask. Did you want to go to the final five with the five of them? Like that was what you wanted?
Yeah, I thought that was honestly that would have been the easiest way to go. We did talk about that. Just vote everyone else off. Then we'll see how it shakes out from there.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I think that would have made the whole season kind of a little more boring.
Yeah.
Than it turned out. I mean, because that's so. No offense to how it turned out, but the votes did end up becoming more and more predictable after my and Zach's vote out episode. Sure. So it did throw some fire in there. It was pretty cool. It was pretty chaotic there.
It was exciting.
So I think, and it would have been really. I mean. It was a pretty cool episode. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a great episode. The one where you and Zack, it's a good one, and that's where we're at now. Were you? I will get to that later. So Zack wins immunity at the challenge. Did you read anything into the fact that once do you remember this one where you're cutting the strings off the whiteboards? Your team knocks out everybody from the red team, and then you're the first one out of the blue team. Did you make anything of that?
I did. I mean, yeah. It's still reaffirmed. Yeah, I'm on the bottom here. And I mean, you have to cut someone's string, and of course it's mine.
Right. Okay. I had wondered about that, if maybe that had occurred to you, because I know at Tribal Council, like I think it was Justin was assuring like that didn't mean anything. Like we didn't cut in any particular order. So I wondered how you felt that like they got you out, and then the four of them are kind of in front of you, being like. Talking about who they're going to cut, but you're already gone. Yeah. I thought that was kind of an interesting scene. Your team is planning to split votes between Andrew and I think Emma at that point. How did you feel when Zack comes up to you after the challenge and after you guys have had the split vote conversation? He says, hey, like Kim wants you out fifth. We have to make a move against Kim. How did you feel about, because earlier in the day, you're like, I don't know about that. How did you feel this time when he approached you?
When he phrased it like that, that I just felt such a sense of urgency. I was like, okay, we definitely have to do this now, especially if I want to stay in any longer. Because again, she played a great game. She's a fantastic player. I will sing her praises. However the rest of the saying goes, if there is a saying, but she's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just really trusted Zack on this one. How do I say this without saying I messed up a little bit? But...
Yeah. So we'll get. So Zack says to you pretty explicitly, don't say anything to anybody. Like tell them that we're voting for Andrew or Emma. Don't say anything to anyone. And we're gonna get to the Tom scene in a second, but before that, do you remember what you did? Because like the scene is pretty short in the episode, but Zack spends a while like going to individual people and talking through this. Do you remember what you were doing during that time when you were told not to say anything to anybody?
Just being good.
Just being good.
Being
good. So you do eventually go talk to Tom, And this was one of my favorite scenes because
Really?
it was, I don't know if you noticed, but like this conversation with you and Tom, it was a full minute long, unedited. I didn't want to play any tricks with it. I didn't want to like speak, like I wanted to show exactly what happened because I just thought it was interesting to sort of see you, how you handle that. Like Tom is kind of like, he's pressing just a little bit. Like it's sort of interesting, like Tom navigate like how to get information out of you, and you sort of navigate like how not to reveal too much until you finally ultimately reveal too much. So can you talk to us, why did you decide to let Tom know the full plan?
Yeah, that was a hard scene for me.
Probably it was one of my favorites, but probably not one of your favorites.
Well, that's probably my least favorite scene actually. Just because yeah, I remember how that happened. As I really didn't want to tell him anything, and I wanted to just stick with what Zack said. But I think in my head I was also thinking, well, we did talk about being in the final three. He should be okay with this. He should feel more comfortable going to the final three with me, him, and Zack, opposed to him, Justin, and Kim, just because Justin and Kim had such a strong alliance. So that should have been a win, or just something positive for him. That would have I probably would have been a wise choice on his part. I'm still not sure what he was thinking, other than that he wasn't on board with that plan.
Did he try to talk you out of it? Because what people didn't see was that the conversation between the two of you continued for a few minutes after that. Did he try to talk you out of it?
Yeah, he did. And I probably said that I was just going to stick with it. It's do or die for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
because Zack told you that Kim is going after you.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
And I really didn't want to say too much. I was like, Zack's doing something. Don't worry about it.
Which, as soon as you can see the wheels turning for Tom, as soon as you say, "Hey, Zack is going to talk to a bunch of people. Don't worry about it." And he's like,
"What's Zack doing?" And I'm like, "Oh."
I mean, it's an incredible scene. Like I know you hate it. I get it, but it is. Can you tell me what was the relationship like with you and Tom at that point? Because obviously you've been together for the whole first day, and now we're a few hours into day two. What was the relationship like with Tom?
Not much of a relationship. Because most of my interactions one-on-one with folks have been with Zack. I thought it was nice that he wanted to ask what my plan was moving forward. So I wasn't completely written off. And maybe if I was a little bit more careful, I could have worked something out.
So when you say that, I guess I get curious if that was one of the times in the game where somebody from the Hara tribe like really asked for your opinion on something.
Yes.
Was when Tom talked to you about that.
Yes, I felt maybe left out of maybe a lot of the one-on-ones that were happening, except with Zack, because he likes me.
Yeah.
But it felt nice to be asked what my plan was moving forward.
Of course. Did you get the inclination that obviously you and Tom talk and he's like, "Hey, I don't think you should do this," and you're like, I'm doing it. Did you get the impression that he was going to try to stop it, or he was going to try to reverse something? Did you say anything like, "Please don't tell anyone I told you this"? Like, how did that wrap up?
That's a good question. I don't think I really did anything just to avoid that, because what he does is up to him. Really.
Sure. Very healthy perspective. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought it probably would have been wise even for him to just be on board with the plan.
Right. You think it's in his best interest to be part of it.
I thought it was, because if he made it to I mean, he did make it pretty far,
He did pretty well for himself ultimately.
Top two.
I mean, did you know who else did Zack disclose to you, like who else he was going to try to bring in on the plan?
No, I don't think he really did, but looking at the footage, I was a little bit surprised. I'm like, why are you talking to Justin? That's the Lions. Like,
I know that's something I gotta talk to Zack about.
right.
Did you know that Kim and Justin were close at that point, or did you still not know? Because you mentioned earlier that you weren't aware early in the game.
I don't think I was as aware of how strong their bond was.
Got it. It does become apparent when you watch the episodes, but yeah, if you're living it, it might not be so obvious.
I think when I will say I thought it was a good plan, but not well executed.
Were you aware going into that tribal council that it was going to be you? Did you know that it was coming?
I wasn't sure. I mean, I think that there was a moment right before. I probably did know. There was a moment right before we went in, where I think I had known that Kim found out. So in classic Jonton fashion, right before going in, I was like, "Hi Kim, can I talk to you about something?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just went in to vote.
So you guys didn't even talk?
Nope.
Oh my god!
I was like, "Oh no!"
And then Kim gives that like piece de resistance voting confessional.
I gotta say, I applauded when I saw that.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
I think I ran that by you because I was like, "Hey, are you gonna mind if this is in the episode?" And you and Zack both signed off on it. It was, I mean, it's such a good line.
It was
Zack and John, like
that's such queen moment right there.
just good television, just absolutely good television.
That's fantastic.
So how did it feel being voted out when you got voted out?
I was okay with it.
Yeah,
I was okay with it. That's the play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect everyone there. So yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say, I knew she played a better game than me. I knew that season 2 gonna be, I mean, a little different.
It'll be a little different. That's right. Different. Your vote out was one of the sadder ones for me. I found all of the vote outs pretty sad, but yours was, I thought, especially sad. It was for you, I would imagine it was for you too. And then how did it feel when you were on the jury and you see Zack get voted out right after you? How was that?
Can't say it was a shock.
Yeah, kind of suspected he'd be in trouble.
Yeah, I think it just really didn't work out in his favor, that he didn't have the opportunity to go back to the tribe and fix what the mess he made.
Right.
But I don't see how he could do that.
Sure.
Maybe just talking to the remaining Tortugas, maybe get one other person on his side, but that'd be pretty tough.
Yeah. No, he ended up. It was a tricky spot for him. It was a bad round for him to have to do that like double tribal. That was rough. So you're on the jury now. How was it watching the rest of the game play out from the jury? Did you feel like just from attending tribal councils, you had like a good idea of like what direction things were going?
It was pretty fun. And I was pretty aware that I was sure Kim was just running that game and just taking names and writing them down and getting people off. So it was nice. It was nice to see. I had no hard feelings toward them, but it was nice to see the Hara having the majority for the rest of the game.
So even though they voted you out, you were still rooting for them.
Yes, I was. I had no hard feelings. I can look back and be like, I worked with that person. Like, I maybe in some little way I got them there.
I mean, if you had flipped it, you did, because if you could have flipped it the merge and been like, sorry guys, like you don't want to do what I want to do, well then I'm gonna make the decision. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you helped. Now what did you and the rest of the jury do to pass time?
We talked a little bit. We went to this isn't sponsored or anything, but some ice cream place down the street.
Oh yeah, I forget where you guys went, but yeah, after Andrew got voted out, right?
Yeah. We did that. Other than that, it was a lot of waiting, actually. Not gonna lie to you, and talking about how it went down.
I always feel bad for the jury because there's nothing like I can't do anything to like keep you guys entertained. So I do always feel bad that you guys have to sit around a little bit. What was your perception of what was happening in the game? Like, I'm thinking about like at that final 6 tribal council where it's like the three from the red team, 3 from the blue team. Like you guys don't know that Emma has already flipped. Like, were you guys anticipating like that there'd be a tie at that vote?
I wasn't really sure what was going to happen actually. Geez, I'm sure Zack was expecting maybe something like that.
Mhm.
I wasn't really sure what to expect there. But I was again, I was still happy to see Hara just keeping that majority.
What did you think of the final 5 tribal council? Because that was an explosive one. We had Tony pulling out a fake hidden immunity idol. We had Tom playing a real hidden immunity idol. What did you think of all that?
That was awesome.
At that point, had you been filled in about Tom's idol?
Yes, I was. I was told he has an idol.
Right.
That was fantastic. That was some real Russell Hance play right there. And I wasn't really sure what happened. I was like, oh wow, did everyone flip on Tom or something like that? What's going on there?
Right.
And at that point, I was very much respecting Kim for in my opinion at the time. I was thinking like, oh, she was responsible for my vote out. So gotta respect the play of the game there.
Absolutely.
But I saw that move by Tom. And I was like, that's sick. That was awesome. He's played everyone. So that was amazing to me. So at that time, I was thinking, I'm either rooting for Kim or Tom here. It's tough call.
That's so. I was really curious, like what the jury perception was, because as far as you guys know, all you see is 4 votes for Tom that Tom just canceled. That's really interesting. So going into the final. Oh, sorry, I was just talking over you. What did you just say, Jontan?
No, I just said I loved it. It was great.
Loved it. Yeah, it was a fun one. Not so fun for Emma or fans of Emma, but it was an exciting. It was definitely wow, as Emma would say later. So once we got down to final 4, you're rooting for Tom or Kim. Would you say like one over the other you were rooting for?
It was really neck and neck actually. I thought the play was amazing. It was a little less amazing when I found out how planned out, how artificial it was.
Yeah.
But maybe Kim. I was probably preferring Kim at this time. But still, I thought it was going to be maybe those two in the final 2, just because Justin played such a quiet, like very methodical game. And when at the end, when he just lifted the curtain and showed that he was just playing everyone this whole time. I mean, I'm not alone in saying I was amazed.
Well, I mean, we're going to get into final tribal council in a little bit. Was Tony somebody that you were considering voting for, or was he off the table because he was from the other team?
Yep, he was off the table. I mean, love the guy. He's real great guy. Not someone I would have voted for to win or whatever. Just wasn't in the cards for me.
Sure. So Kim gets voted out at the final 4 tiebreaker. Any thoughts on that tie that was between Tom and Kim at the final 4? Any thoughts on that?
I was a little bit bummed about that.
Yeah. What about it?
Well, I really liked Kim, and she was actually, I think at this time, she was probably my winner pick. So it was hard to see her. It was hard to see her go for that reason, because I just really loved how she played the game. Again, she was just a fantastic social player, and that's why I was bummed, just because I just was rooting for her.
Yeah. So we get to the final 3. Tom wins immunity, votes out Tony. When you saw that the final 2 was Tom and Justin, I guess you touched on this. Were you anticipating with that final 2 that you were expecting that you were going to vote for Tom?
Yeah, I was. Honestly, just based on that idol play. But again, I did go into this when it was revealed how it was manufactured. I was like, oh, so Justin's been playing everyone this whole time. I respect that. I love that.
He got away with so much. He did so well, and to get this far, that's when I was Team Justin.
Now, this is a hypothetical question that's always kind of hard to answer because it's been so many months. But do you think, looking back, if Tom had taken Tony to the final two, do you think you would have definitely voted for Tom for like being part of Hara, or do you think Tony might have been able to make an argument to vote for him instead?
Honestly, even in that scenario, I think I would still have voted for Tom.
You think so? Okay. All right. I mean, like, that's just something I'm curious about. It's like, it's kind of a BS question to try to ask so many months later. I was curious about that. So we get to final tribal council. So it was really Justin's opening speech that kind of won you, like, right from the get-go. That opening speech got you.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And I think from that point on, it would have been hard for Tom to win my vote back at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. Did you get the impression that other people? Let's rewind a little bit. Actually, did you have any sort of impression of what the rest of the jury was thinking before that final tribal council? Did you have any inclination of who might be like in the lead at that point?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of remember. I think Zack said he would also have voted for Kim to win, or whoever would have been responsible for voting her off.
Sure.
So I know that. I honestly, I remember Emma keeps on saying that she was like, "Don't vote for Tom." I don't really recall this. She probably told people that weren't me. I was on the bottom of the jury too.
Oh no!
I'm kidding. Oh, maybe I was. But I don't quite recall that. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what everyone else is thinking. I know we were all amazed by Tom's idol play. I feel like everyone was probably in the same boat because so many people were just left in the dark about it, just all the secrets Justin had kept from us.
Right.
With regard to his play. So I think we were probably gunning for Tom at this time, except for maybe Emma and some other people. But just because his idol play was so amazing.
Got it. Jontan, that brings us to the end of the game. Any reflections on day 2, the end of the game, the overall experience? Any reflections from you?
It was great. I had a fantastic time. Being in the woods. It could have been a little bit less complaining from everyone else. But otherwise, I had a fantastic time. I'm kidding, by the way. They just, you can complain all you want. It's, I had a fantastic time. Met some really good people. Reunited with some folks.
Have you kept in touch with anybody?
I mean, we do have that group chat going. Where
oh, that's right. There's a group chat now.
Yeah, one of many that we're in.
Yes, you and I are in many group chats together.
But I was, but no, I had a fantastic time. I mean, it's I don't talk to many folks from there every day, but I mean, it was great meeting them. It really was. And if I'm invited back, would love to hop in the game again. Play a little bit differently. And just because again, there were some things I would have done differently looking back on it, and it's trial and error. I mean, it's such, you can't ignore just how much of it is a social game, which I think in part I did ignore, and that's I think part of how my downfall happened.
I mean, that's awesome, Jontan. I'm really glad to hear that you would play again. I think it'd be super interesting to see how you would play differently this a second time. Now, Jontan, we've got a bunch of fan questions. A lot of people wrote in with questions for you. I want to ask real quick, actually, before we get to the fan questions. What was the reaction like? Because I know that you had a lot of friends watching. What did they think of the season? What do they think of you on the show?
Oh, they loved it. Again, a lot of my friends just said they thought that my the plan against Kim, it was a solid idea, but again, not executed very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it with a couple of my friends together, and they were just like, why'd you tell, why'd Zack tell Justin? Why'd you tell Tom? So I'm like, oh, guys, you probably know how to play it better than I do. And, I think a lot of people at my at Florian Martial Arts, they loved the tree punching.
Oh my gosh. I'm really glad to hear it. That's awesome.
And I think they love to see me repping the Florian logo.
Absolutely.
And I think some other folks were just kind of like, wow, yeah, that's someone that I know.
I'm so glad to hear it, Jontan. But all right, let's get into the fan questions. This was not from a fan, but a fellow player. Tony wrote in, and he said, besides yourself, who from the season has the most martial arts potential?
From what? You mean from like the
Yeah, out of the rest of the people who played, who has the most martial arts potential?
I'm gonna go with Wu.
Wu.
Yeah, Wu.
Why Wu?
Wu also let me know that she's big into kickboxing as well. She was familiar with Muay Thai.
Okay.
So she, I don't think she made that aware to many folks when, well.
She talked about this when you gave her a ride home.
Yeah, she did. And I loved hearing that from her. It was, I'm going to go with Wu. She has trained. She seems to have some experience behind her. So yeah, definitely Wu.
Good answer. Good answer. This next one is actually not from a fan, but is actually you wrote in with a question. You wrote, Jontan, how did you get that fine physique?
Can you say it? Wait, what was it? Can I hear it again, please? I didn't hear it.
How did you get that fine physique? Was this something that you wanted to talk to us about, Jontan?
I didn't know you would include it because
you wrote the question.
I know I wrote the question.
Oh my gosh, Jontan. All right.
Do you want me to tell you?
Do you have something to say about it?
Yeah. All right. So push, pull, legs. So I say if you are you have a gym membership or something, or if you don't, like you want to combine like one day where you do pushing exercises and pulling exercises as well. Gonna get you wicked strong. And a separate day, just bang out whatever leg exercises you have. I mean, and I prefer, if you don't have any equipment, and if you need to push, I recommend what's called diamond push-ups. You put your hands into this kind of a shape, and you want to basically have your chest touch your hands and push off of that. It's supposed to be much harder than your standard military push-ups, and pair that with wide grip pull-ups. Again, if you don't have that much equipment, and you're golden.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. If you want the Jontan physique, push pull legs. That's the secret. Daltrey wrote in. Daltrey wants to know, how do you think your training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu helped you in the game?
Well, it's a good question, because I think I would have alluded to. Actually, I think I do know how it helped me. It really, and this is full serious. I'm not making any jokes here or anything like that. My decision to start training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's the first martial art I've ever gotten involved in. It was the best decision of my life. It really, truly was, just because I was right out of college, probably still like a bit of a wild child, and maybe a little bit probably shy, a little, not that shy, but kind of shy in some regards. Like I'm not gonna
I probably feel uncomfortable, like just being in like a physical contact with someone. But really, if you get into such a physically demanding and just physically intimate martial art like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, those feelings of being uncomfortable are going to go away really fast, just because you're just exposed to that just constantly. Just contact is the name of the game.
Right,
really.
right.
And,
I've seen the videos of you doing that. Yeah, a lot of physical contact.
yeah, you love it. But I and it really, and I say this, and I know people probably say, like, "Oh, JohnTon's the hot dog move guy." It really did make me just a lot more humble than I was before. Just because, I mean, which is, maybe some people might argue against that. But when you just feel and see yourself just being completely dominated by someone else, you're like, oh, I need to work on some things. I need to get some technique. I have to improve and be better. Like, and you take your losses. Like, I still get, like, take my beatings every now and then. I give some too, but I mean, I say, like, hey, I mean, I get over losing really quickly.
That's awesome, Jontan. That's really interesting to hear your sort of your backstory with all of that. I have a few more questions. A bunch of these are from people I know are friends of yours. Gabby writes in and says, "Do you know that you didn't win Survivor?"
What?
I think this is a friend of yours who wrote in with this sassy question.
That yeah, I figured that one out. I mean, I think I won in my heart, though.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I mean, it's like, oh, wait, I get it now. I get it now. That's because I would text you every day before a new episode would come out and be like, so do I win this one?
Oh my god, that's right. People don't know that, but you texted me every week when a new episode came out. You said, "Did I win this week?" And I was sort of saying, "No, Jontan, you didn't win." So you told Gabby about that.
I think she was well aware. I think right before I do it, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna text him, ask him if I won this time.
Oh my gosh.
And then she's like, yeah, you really like messing with him. Yeah.
This next question is from Jess. Jess writes, "Is there hope for the Zack Jontan bromance?"
There's more than hope for the Zack Jontan bromance.
I loved your friendship with Zack during the season. There are so many deleted scenes that I'm going to put out of the two of you being funny together. People should go back and watch. There are challenges where he's standing with his hands on his hips and you're like slightly behind him also with your hand on your hips. You two are so funny together. I loved learning about that friendship because I didn't know what was happening while we were filming. I loved learning about that friendship.
Season 2 will be there.
Season 2, Zack versus Jontan. Joe writes in. Joe wants to know, if Jontan had to compete again, what would he change about his strategy?
Oh, all right, Joe. All right. Well, I was trying to keep down the down. I was like, I'll play a little differently next time. Without giving too much away, I think I'd talk to more folks.
Okay.
Make many more alliances. Maybe I'd keep the tree punching to a minimum. Maybe that would be just one kind of one-off. Like, we don't need to worry about anything. A moment if I have that opportunity.
What does that mean? We don't have to worry about anything.
Like we can just lounge around. We can sit around. We don't need to worry about or I don't need to worry about being voted off or anything like that.
I just like the idea that your team is like feeling anxiety and you're like, guys, I'll help.
But I think I would form more alliances.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody is watching this and hasn't seen it yet, there's a great clip on the Instagram account. It's only on the Instagram account. A little music video of Jonton punching trees. I think Jonton, if you play again, I think you'll have to punch trees. I think that they're gonna want to see it. Like whoever you play with is gonna want to be like, Jonton, like you brought your big bag. Will you punch some trees for us? And you'll be like, oh, I'll apply.
I'll be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, okay, I'll do it, guys.
Exactly. Jonton, I have one more question for you. This one is from Zack. So this is kind of a long question. So I'm going to read you the whole thing, and then we might need to take it point by point, okay? Zack says, Jonton, please rank the following in terms of how much you would destroy Dylan in them 1v1. So
10. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Well, I think let's say I'll read you each one and you tell me who you think would win between you and I 1v1, okay?
God.
A 10-mile foot race.
Oh, me. Yeah.
You would win that.
Yeah.
Okay. A boxing match.
Me.
A game of chess.
Me.
Oh, well, we did learn earlier that you are a ranked chess player. So yeah, of course you'd win that. A race to answer 100 simple math problems.
Maybe you.
Maybe me. Okay.
Maybe.
Last one, a dramatic monologue competition.
Oh, me.
Okay. Well, there you go, Zack. I hope that answered your question. That Jonton thinks he would destroy me at all of those competitions, except maybe the simple math one. Jonton, that does it for questions I have. What's up next for you? What do you got coming up? What's going on in your world you're looking forward to?
Geez, I'm just chilling, just grinding. I'm working, thrilling. Just trying to make it into Florian daily. Definitely learning a lot. I have like a notebook of moves I want to improve on and hit. But it's just it's a game of inches, really. I mean, or the pieces of just the whole modern martial arts, they come together one grain of salt at a time. So just trying to get better. That's about it, really. I mean, looking to compete again soon. I don't think my mom wants me to do that though, but it's funny. I was with my aunt recently, and she was like, "Oh, so are you gonna compete again?" And my mom's over in the corner, and she's like, I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to."
Oh, Mom Ton. Gotta love Mom.
But other than that, I'm really just trying to be the best version of myself.
That's awesome, man. That's really great. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody who might be watching?
Geez. I mean, shout out to Florian Martial Arts Center. You guys might be watching. I got my specific cohort, the Squirrel Squad. They're the boys and the girls. I mean, shout out to Joe. He's a big fan. Gabby, Jess, lots of love.
Awesome. Well, Jonton, thank you so much for taking the time to talk. I guess I hope that if we do another season, we'll see you again on it, because you were a lot of fun to have on the show. So thanks for everything, Jonton.
No problem, Dylan. You got it.